Hello and welcome back on my YouTube channel, Parth Doshi Learning by Doing. So today we are going to see another concept of UiPath apps, but today it's not only going to be UiPath apps, but it is also going to be data service. As you can see the video title, we are going to learn about three important functions of apps and data service. Like when you integrate apps with data service, there are very three important functions that you should know about. So we are going to see how to implement that. So let's get started. Let me show the entity that I'm going to use. So I've created an entity which is ID card details. Here I have full name, email, and phone number. These are the three data that I have. Now I have created a simple app. There's no fancy UI or something, but I have created a simple app. The app name is data service and integration. So now the very first step to add an entity is you need to click this drop down, select entity, and click on next. Now, once you do that, there is this ID card details that shows that, okay, this is your data, email, full name, phone number. Click on add. It will take time depending on your data that is there in the entity. And once it is added, it is available over here. As you can see, ID card details is available over here. Now, let's go ahead. Now to display the table data of data service, we can use two different type of controls. We can use a custom list and we can use a table. So I'm going to use table as of now, right? And here, first I'm just going to pass the entity. So in the data source, in the table control, in data source, in general properties, you have to pass this. As soon as you pass this, it will take the column names. You can rearrange them. So full name, email, and phone number is what I'm looking for. Now, this is the very first and the simple integration of UiPath apps and entities. How to use the functions, where to use, we'll shortly see that. But this is something that you have to do to integrate in the first place. Clicking on the preview button. All right, so it is displaying the data. Now, what if I want to sort the data in ascending order or in descending order, right? Right now, it's not like that. So if you go to the documentation, there is a function called as sort in UiPath apps. Now, let me just maximize this particular screen. All right, so the syntax is sort the entity. You have to pass the entity, maybe over here, and what field you want to sort and what order you want to sort. That is what we have to pass. All right, so let's come over here. I'm going to remove this and I'm going to scroll down to sort. In bracket, you have to first specify the entity, ID card details, comma. In bracket, you have to specify want to sort using full name. What is the next part in the syntax? Full name and then ascending or descending. So, comma, ASC, close this and close the brackets. All right, and I think I have to put one more. Right, so if you see, this is something that we have written. All right, so this is not required. That was the syntax of lookup and filter. So now let's try to run it. Did we change the sequence? Okay, let us do it again. So now if you see, it is sorted in ascending order. Now, just to understand the difference, let me just copy this. I'll add control header. Let us write here before sorting. After sorting. And over here, we can just specify this. Now let's click on preview button. So now if you see, before sorting the sequences John, Sita and Manoj, after sorting it is John, Manoj and Sita. So this is how you can do the sorting in UiPath apps, right? Now, the second function that we are going to learn about is going to be a lookup. Lookup is similar to what we use in UiPath Studio as well, right? You will look up for a particular value in a particular entity, and if it is equal, then it will give you the data that whatever you are looking for. So it is exactly the same as we use the lookup data table activity in UiPath Studio, right? So again, the example might look little blur over here. I'm trying to zoom it, but that's fine. All right. Now what I want to do is, I don't have like very much of variations of data. So there is not something specific that we want to look into, but we'll try to find something. All right. So what we'll do is, let's suppose we want to look up using an email. Okay. So now let me do this one thing. In display, we'll use a header, and here we'll write an expression. So we can write expressions wherever we want, right? And we can specify whatever we want to. So I'm going to look up, right? Where I'm going to look up in my ID card details. So if you see the function lookup bracket my entity, and then I'm going to specify what I want to look into. So I want to look into the email, right? That is equal to John at the rate. This also have to specify. If you see, if you want to specify a static value, you have to specify within the square brackets. So let's go over here. Let's do this. Then John at the rate gmail.com is what we are going to specify. I'm going to close this. Now, if you see at the end, you want to specify that which value you want to take, right? So I'm going to put a dot, and I want the phone number of that particular user, right? So now let's see. Let's click on preview. All right, additional text encountered after finishing the reading JSON. Let's see what is the issue. Customer city and our email is johnjohn@gmail.com. All right. So the change that I made is this John. I had specified initially in the square brackets, but after we remove the square brackets, right, it works completely fine. So let me click on the preview button. So now if you see, it is clearly being visible over here. Now, one question that when I was learning this topic that arise to me is, right, how can I make this thing dynamic? Let's suppose a user is typing an email in a text box, right? And then how can I search based on that? So what you can do is you can use a text box. You can write over here, type email, and then over here, instead of this complete John, you can specify that. So on main page, I have a text dot value. I'm going to specify that. All right. So what we did over here is the static text that we had typed is we replaced that with the text box value. So the text box is text dot value. If you see the label over here is if I change this to email, you see it became email over here, email. So it will take the text box value that is there. Now let me close this and run it again. So right now, if you see this is empty, that's why there is no phone number. If I type over here, manoj@outlook.com, you see the number is coming over here. So this is how you can make your lookup function dynamic as well if you want to, right? So that is something that we can do using lookup. So I hope the usage of lookup, how you can make dynamic, how you can use static lookup function is clear and there are no doubts. If you have any, please put it in the comment sections. I can make more follow-up videos or more use cases based videos on this as well. Now we are going to see our last function, which is going to be filter. It is very simple. After filtering, oops, let me copy this. Now we are going to remove this completely and we are going to go towards filter. Now filter is basically if you want to directly display, and I have also made a video on that. If you see this dependent table and drop down, so based on the value selected in drop down, your table data will be loaded. So how you can do that is explained in this video as well. So you can watch this video. If you say it's like less than 22 hours ago, I have uploaded it. All right. So you can go ahead and watch this videos of how to use that dynamic filter function. But for now, to explain the basics of filter, oops, I'm going to go over here. And if you see, you can specify a filter. Now, in case of filter and lookup, the difference is filter will get the complete data. It will not get only specific data or specific column, but it will get the complete data. So email contains Gmail is what I want to. And I'm going to close this. All right. Let me click on save. So filter entity, comma, which column of entity, which function, and what value. This is only that you have to specify. So if you see now only 2 rows are coming over here, John and Sita, and you can obviously change this. So this is how you can by default show the filtered data. Now based on drop down selection also we can do that, which will be dynamic, but that I've already explained it other video. So you can go ahead and see that. But this is how you can use different functions that are there in UiPath apps, that is filter, sort, and lookup. So let me just do a quick recap of this video. We started with understanding how to connect an entity to your app, how to display the data by default. Before sorting is what we saw. Then after sorting, we saw we can sort the data. Then we created a static lookup function. That means the value is already there. But then we also created a lookup function where the values are dynamic. So you could understand how to fetch the values dynamically. Now, if I type over here sita@gmail.com and I click, so if you see the number is being displayed over here. So that is how it works. So this is how you can use filter, sort, and lookup functions with some advanced implementations as well. There will be more videos coming in soon where I'm writing complex expressions or where we are building complex logic in apps of based on data filtration or data insertion. This is the part 1 video of data service and UiPath app integration. In the next video, we'll see how to create, update, delete the data from the data service through apps. So first we'll do all the things based on the table control. And like I said, there is also a control called as custom list. So we'll later explore that as well, that how we can do the custom list implementation as well. All right. So thank you so much for watching the complete video. I hope this helped you understand the complete data service integration with UiPath apps, and now you can build your app successfully. Thank you so much. See you in the next video.